Welcome to The Heart of Health Live. There's a place for modern medicine in your life. Learn to use it correctly by getting your toughest questions answered on today's broadcast. Discover modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses. Lifestyle medicine opens the door to optimum health and healing. How you live and what you eat can profoundly affect mind and body. Learn simple solutions to complex problems. God provides the ultimate healing we all desire. He wants us healthy and happy. We just need to understand His plan for our lives and live accordingly. And now, live from Studio 1A in Chattanooga, Tennessee, here's your Heart of Health host, Dr. James Marcum.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight on this special edition of the Heart of Health Live. I'm your host, Nick Evanson, and Dr. Marcum is here with me tonight, and we've got a great show with you. Usually we take callers' questions and we answer them live on the air, but tonight we're doing it a little bit differently. We're not going to take your phone calls because we have a special guest who's going to be on the phone with us here in just a moment to talk about a great study that he just had published within the last month. And so Dr. Campbell Esselstyn of the Cleveland Clinic is going to be on the phone with us shortly, and Dr. Marcum is really excited to talk about that study with him. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who supports us here at HeartWise. We have volunteers who work behind the scenes each week to make this broadcast happen, so thank you for that. Also to those who work on our call center and help take calls every week, we thank you. And for those of you who contribute financially, some people just send us $10 a month and some send more, and we thank you for making this possible. Dr. Marcum, tell us a little bit about the program tonight.
Yeah, I'm very excited because, last month in the Journal of Family Practice came out what I call a landmark study. And it was done by Dr. Esselstyn, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that study. But he basically proved that we could halt and reverse coronary artery disease with a non-pill method, a non-procedure method. This is so important because this gives evidence to what we've been saying all along, that when people eat well, eat a whole food plant-based diet, Dr. Esselstyn also limited the oil, that people can take control of their health. There's chemistry that we can change by the food we eat. We've also shown on this program by our thoughts. And also, I really believe our connection with our Creator also helps our chemistry be optimal. Now, if this was an article about the Ebola virus, it'd be all over. But we're going to talk about it in just a second, Nick.
That's right. If you have a question, you can text your question tonight to 423-834-7307. And the Heart of Health Live returns in just a moment, so stay tuned.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
The Heart of Health Live is brought to you by HeartWise Ministries. The Ultimate Prescription by cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is taking the nation by storm. People everywhere are learning what living a healthy life is all about. If you're happy living a drug-filled, pain-filled, mundane existence, this book is definitely not for you. In this book, Dr. Marcum dives into modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses and explains how lifestyle choices can significantly impact your health. To get your copy, visit Barnes & Noble or shop online at Amazon.com.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
I'm Dr. James Marcum, and I talk to patients every day who want to know the truth in healthcare. On our website, heartwiseministries.org, you can have your questions answered. You can read my blog where I talk about interesting and controversial subjects in medicine. You might choose to go to the radio or television sections and learn more about all sorts of health topics. Take the time and go to heartwiseministries.org.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Heart of Health Live. We are glad that you've tuned in tonight, and we are here to help answer some of your questions and give you some advice that may help you feel better tomorrow and for the rest of your life. If you'd like to text your questions to us tonight, we'd be happy to take them via text message. You can send it in to 423-834-7307. That's 423-834-7307, and we'll get to your questions, as many as we can tonight, so send them on in.
And we've also had some questions that come into the website as well, Nick.
That's right, yeah. That's right. And if you want to know more, you can find our website at heartwiseministries.org. And any medical question you may have, you can send it there to the Ask the Doctor page on the website, and a member of our staff will get back to you with their advice.
Yeah. Well, Nick, Dr. Esselstyn is going to talk about this landmark study. And like I was saying earlier, if he had found the cure to Ebola, that'd be on every major newspaper in America, Time, Newsweek, USA Today, everyone would have it.
Yeah.
I think this discovery, what he has, is as exciting as any you can be, and it should be talked about, developed. People should start, using this in their practices, making it a part of their life. This is very exciting because not only does he show us a way to reverse heart disease, and he proves it, but what in this study that we're going to talk about, 90% of the people stayed on this treatment plan.
Wow.
That's enormous, 90%. Average is that only half people will take your pills correctly when you prescribe them a prescription medicine. So this is very important, and we're humble the phones will start working, and we can get him on very quick. It's going to be very exciting to talk to him tonight because he's dedicated his life to proving these theories, and when we have proof, scientific proof, it helps empower people. Yeah, this is proof. We're going to do this, and I just applaud the Journal of Family Practice for publishing this, and I applaud him for stepping out of the mainstream and using this. In my practice as a cardiologist, I don't have any pill, any procedure, anything I can offer that can accomplish what he did with this group of patients, these 200 group of people that he studied. So I'm very excited to talk to him.
Right. So tell us just a little bit. What's the study? What's the journal article that you found, and how did you find it?
Yeah.
And tell us about it.
This is I was reading. I'm always looking to try to find ways to improve the health of my patients, and we really need hard data, studies that have been done, and also methods to help people do these things. It's not hard to eat well. It's not hard to break lifetime habits. It's not hard to buck traditions and culture and all these neuro pathways that say, oh, we have to have it. So this not only gives his strategy for this, but it also gives us hope, that even those that have the worst coronary disease, and some of these had terrible coronary disease, the worst vascular disease, there's hope and there's something that can be offered. Many of these patients went to their expert cardiologist and they said, there's nothing more that can be done. Well, he gave them hope. Now, while we're waiting to get Dr. Esselstyn on, we've been pretty busy at HeartWise the last couple weeks, and I think some of the people might want to know some of the projects HeartWise has been up to, Nick.
That's right. One of the things that I've been working on recently with you, we've been working on producing scripts and an outline for our HeartWise Kids, which is going to be a health program, and it's going to be a half-hour program, and we want to lead a holistic approach to health for kids. So tell us, what is that going to look like, Dr. Marcum?
Well, we want, if we can start at the younger generation, train up a child, in wellness, in being well in all aspects of his life, then when they get older, hopefully they won't have all these chronic problems that need pills and treatment for. They can be healthy. So if we can start them young and thinking about this and doing simple things, I think it's going to help a whole lot. So I think that's an important project that HeartWise has tackled. In addition to this program, in addition to the radio, and we're working on a health evangelism project where we're going to help people understand the importance of a relationship and worship and how it changes the chemistry. So we have a lot of a lot of exciting projects, and we just want to thank everyone for being a part of it, because we wouldn't exist without your help, your financial support as God impresses you, especially as we come to the years end. We need your continued support and prayers to continue to move forward.
Yeah. And if you want to support the HeartWise Kids program or any of our other programs, you can go to our website, heartwiseministries.org, and you can find our contact information there. And feel free to call us. We aren't always the best about answering the phones because we have a very small crew, but we always get back to people who leave a message. So give us a call and let us know what you like and how you think HeartWise could better reach people. And you can also donate online if you'd like to make a contribution there.
Okay. Do we have some questions from our website?
We do. Let's go to the questions from the website. The first one, the person asks, how does one know whether they should have a stent or a bypass?
Yeah, I get that question in my office every day, Nick. And for a stent, a lot of people don't know what that is, but that's a small device that's placed in stainless steel that opens up the artery so the heart gets more blood. And of course, a bypass goes around the blockages, okay, with extra supplies of blood so the heart gets more blood. Neither one of these actually fix the underlying problem. Okay, they just treat the symptoms. And if you're having a heart attack, that's a great place for a stent. Because if you don't put the stent in, you're going to lose the artery anyway. So if we can get it in fast enough and the stent can open that up, that can help save heart muscle. So if you're having an acute heart attack, that's a place for the stent. Also, sometimes if you have such extreme symptoms that you feel like you can't do things, you can't walk across the room, that might also be a place for a stent. What about a bypass? Well, bypasses for people that have lots of blockages, that can't walk and exercise, that might be a place for bypasses. In Dr. Esselstyn's study, a lot of people had stents and bypasses, and he also gave them this treatment of a whole food plant-based diet with little oil, and those also showed dramatic improvement. So, I guess to answer that question, the places for stents are when someone's having a heart attack, an acute event, to get them over the hump so they can get at the cause of disease. And the second place is if someone's having very severe symptoms and the blockages are in very high-risk locations. For instance, what if they had a very important blockage and they weren't going to be the type of person that might be able to make changes right away? Okay, that might help that. Well, that might be a person, well, let's give them the bypass to help protect the heart. If they have a heart attack, it tends to be a smaller one because they have the extra blood while we slowly improve their lifestyle. Not everyone goes from A to Z, Nick. Some people need little steps,
That's right.
You just try this and this and this. And so that would be my approach, and each person is also very different. So, that's the way I do in my practice, but each cardiologist might handle things a little bit differently depending on the exact circumstances. So in medicine and in healing, one size doesn't necessarily fit all. So, you have to sort of look at the whole picture and say, but usually, the doctors that put in stents will give pretty good advice to the patients. Is there some people that have blockages that we don't do stents in? Yes. There's some arteries that are too small for stents.
Sure.
There's some that aren't in dangerous locations. There's some people, I think, that are going to be really good with compliance and doing these type of programs. I say, well, maybe if you'll do this and we keep a close eye on it, maybe you'll be one that we can reverse the disease or halt progression, or maybe we can make the artery bigger through the food you eat, through extra nitric oxide production. So these are all different things we can do to help the arteries, the heart. But I think a key point is remember that what we do in modern medicine, the medicines, the pills, the bypasses, the stents, we don't really fix the problem. We just treat the symptoms, and hopefully each one of us can sort of look at the problem. Is it diet? Is it stress? Is it genetics? And we can do things in our own life to improve our odds of this reoccurring and happening again.
That's right. There's a lot of things that we can do just in our lifestyle that will help. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions through our website. That's heartwiseministries.org. And if you have a question, you can text us this evening at 423-834-7307. We'll be right back just after the break.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
HeartWise Ministries would like to invite you to take a moment and connect with us. and share your thoughts and comments. You can join the conversation on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. HeartwiseMinistries.org will help you stay up to date with what's going on. And of course, you can always watch past shows on Vimeo.com.
Medicines That Kill from cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is now available. In his newest book, Dr. Marcum explains why he believes that medications may very well be the #1 cause of death in America. Medicines That Kill uncovers the hidden risks associated with modern pharmaceuticals and outlines the biblical plan for physical and spiritual health. To find out how to get your copy, visit our website at heartwiseministries.org or call us toll-free at 855-644-3278.
This year, it's estimated that 56 million people will die. Some from old age, some from disease, and still others from terrible tragedies. At Heartwise, we can't do anything about sudden death, but what we can give you is free medical information that will help you live a longer, more fulfilling life with less disease and illness. If you are interested, we would love to talk to you about our wonderful God whom we love and serve, who is with us even when we are going through heartache. If you have a medical question, or if you are just at the end of your rope, call us at 855-644-3278. At Heartwise, we believe in truth, love, and healing.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned to the Heart of Health Live this evening. We've got a great show in store for you yet for the rest of the evening, and we thank you for tuning in. We have a very special guest on the phone. Dr. Esselstyn is with us on the phone, and Dr. Marcum, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Dr. Esselstyn, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes indeed.
Well, we were just talking before break. You know, I was commenting to Nick, and we're on 10 networks around the world, including the United States, so thank you for being with us. We were just talking about this, what I call a landmark study. In fact, it moved me so much that I wrote a press release today, and I said, you know, if this was a treatment for the Ebola virus, it would be on the USA Today, the New York Times, and every journal in America. That's how important this is. But when you think about what this article talks about, and we're talking about a way to reverse coronary artery disease, original research done by Dr. Esselstyn and his colleagues at the Cleveland Clinic. It was published in the the Journal of Family Practice just last month. If this would have been any, you know, this should be on every cover of every journal, you know, in America, letting people know this is a significant study that's been done, because now we have proof from patients that we can reverse coronary disease. And in my article, I say, I, as a practicing cardiologist, I don't have any medicine, any pill, any intervention, Nick, that can help the heart to this matter. And for most of that, I cannot get a 90% compliance rate. So Dr. Esselstyn, thank you for being else. And what inspired you to do this research?
Well, that kind of goes back about 30 years to where I was at that point chairman of our breast cancer task force. And you got very disillusioned for no matter how many women I was doing breast surgery, I was doing absolutely nothing for the next unsuspecting victim. And that led to a bit of global research, and it was quite striking to see that, for instance, in countries like Kenya, breast cancer was 30 or 40 times less frequent than in the United States. And if you looked at rural Japan in the 1950s, breast cancer was very infrequently identified. And yet as soon as the Japanese women would migrate to the United States by the second and third generation, they now have the same rate of breast cancer as their Caucasian counterpart. So the evidence was pretty solid, but along around that time, it seemed to me that there would be more bang for the buck if we took the leading killer of women and men in Western civilization, which was coronary artery heart disease or heart attacks, which were, as part of this global review, were absolutely absent in multiple cultures where there was the common theme of plant-based nutrition. And cardiovascular disease was virtually non-existent. And that sort of made me think, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe we could take some of these patients with seriously ill with cardiovascular disease, get them to eat plant-based, and see if we can't halt or reverse their disease. And that was our first small study, which was published back in 1995. But this most recent one just came out in July, this time of 200, because rightfully so, our critics said, wait a minute, okay, you've got some striking results with this small group of 24 patients, but what's going to happen if you get a larger group? Are they going to comply, and will you get the same result?
Yeah. Dr. Esselstyn, tell us, about the study. What was the strategy you used, in this modern world and all the culture? How did you get people to buy into this, It's pretty hard to change a complete diet and a complete lifestyle and culture.
No question. Nothing is as, next to religion and sex, there's nothing as personal as food, and we knew that this was going to be a challenge. Now, therefore, I work in Cleveland, Ohio, and the most frequent phone call that I got then and I get now is Dr. Esselstyn, who is there here in Sacramento, Dallas, Fort Worth, Kansas City, Bismarck, Tallahassee, or Philadelphia, who does what you do? Well, we knew that perhaps wasn't going to happen, so we also knew that persons would not come from Oregon to Cleveland for days at a time.
Yeah.
So we went to town and synthesized a very intensive single-day counseling seminar that was 5.5 hours. We wanted this to be the most significant interchange that anybody has ever had with their caregiver. And I should say that everybody who comes must come with their spouse or their significant other who comes for free. We do this in groups of no more than usually 12 or 14. So there's about 28 in the room, and I should also say there are usually between 6 and 10 healthcare workers, either nurses, nurse practitioners, or physicians who attend as our guests who want to become familiar with this. But my secretary will give me a list of who is going to attend, usually 2 weeks beforehand, and everybody has their phone number on that list, and I personally call and make contact with everybody myself beforehand so that before they ever come to the seminar, I can get my arms around their story, and at the same time, they have an opportunity to ask questions of me so that coming to the seminar, we have a strong platform from which we can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for the 5.5 hours is the only way that I know to really have a patient make a behavioral modification is to show them respect. And the only way that I as a physician, can show them respect is to give them my time. And this really is very exciting because I will share with you where I think we really, so to speak, throw the hook. Everybody is going to learn that the reason that they are there with their heart disease is because they have so seriously trashed and injured the life jacket and the guardian of their blood vessel. They don't have enough of the magic molecule of nitric oxide left to protect themselves. Let me explain a little bit further. All experts in this disease would agree that where the disease has its inception, its beginning, is when we injure that single layer of cells lining the innermost part of our artery called the endothelium. And it's the endothelium that makes the magic molecule that protects us, that is the gas of nitric oxide, which has multiple functions. And what does nitric oxide do that makes it so magic? One, it keeps all the cellular elements of our bloodstream flowing smoothly like Teflon rather than like Velcro. Our white cells, our endothelial cells, our platelets, our LDL cholesterol, they're not sticky. When there's plenty of nitric oxide, it's flowing smoothly. Number 2, nitric oxide is the strongest vasodilator in the body. That is to say, when you climb stairs, the arteries to your heart, the arteries to your leg, they widen, they dilate. That's nitric oxide. Number 3, nitric oxide will prevent the wall of your artery from becoming thickened, stiff, or inflamed. It protects us from getting high blood pressure or hypertension. Number 4, most important, an adequate, safe amount of nitric oxide protects us from ever developing blockages or plaque. So that was that's the nugget where we really sort of throw the hook, because by the time I've spent close to an hour on the endothelial cell, everybody there now fully grasps and understands how they got the disease. And then, of course, next we go into the foods, that what are the foods that every time they pass your lips, you absolutely decimate and injure the capacity of your endothelial.
Dr. Esselstyn, we're going to have to be right back. We've got a short break coming up, but we want to hear more about it. So everybody stay tuned. Dr. Esselstyn will be back with us just after the break. We look forward to hearing the rest of the story.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
Today, more than ever before, businesses are searching for ways to increase productivity, reduce healthcare-related costs, and engage their employees in meaningful ways that help their businesses succeed. Heartwise Wellness Plus is a workplace wellness solution that does just that. Through early detection and prevention of disease, our wellness program can improve the lives of your employees by engaging them in activities that inspire healthy living. Our team of health professionals provide on-site services including health risk assessments, biometric screenings, individual counseling, and educational resources that encourage positive lifestyle changes that will last a lifetime. This program has proven effective over the past 20 years and has helped employers save millions of dollars in healthcare spending. For more information, visit heartwisewellnessplus.com and discover how wellness can be part of your winning strategy.
Meet Charlie. He's a normal guy with a big problem. You see, Charlie doesn't like to eat healthy foods, and now he's overweight and doesn't know what to do about it. Luckily for Charlie, he's found Weight Management by the Book. Weight Management by the Book is a complete weight loss solution that includes 7 DVDs with 5 hours of lectures, a workbook with over 100 healthy recipes, and an exercise band so you can exercise at home. Dr. Charlene McCullough is a nutritionist, author, and speaker, and together she and Dr. James Marcum talk about the practical ways you can manage your weight and do it the way God intended. As it turned out, it was the best decision Charlie could make because he was able to lose weight and feel great. So now that big problem Charlie had is no problem at all and has completely gone away. Don't you want to know how to manage your weight God's way? For a donation of any amount, we'll send you the complete Weight Management by the Book set of DVDs, workbook, and exercise band. But hey, don't take our word for it. Here's what others have to say about our program.
Weight Management by the Book was an answer from God.
I love that this program focuses on relationships as well as diet and exercise.
Thank you for giving me the hope to change and for doing it in a loving way.
So what are you waiting for? Visit our website at heartwiseministries.org or call our telephone number 855-644-3278.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Heart of Health Live. If you just joined us, we have Dr. Campbell Esselstyn of the Cleveland Clinic with us, and Dr. Marcum is going to pick up the discussion from there.
Yeah, Dr. Esselstyn, that's great. Are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very curious. I'm looking at the results of this study. 198 patients and the recurrent event rate of 0.6%. And if I look at the study, those who didn't adhere, the event rate was 62%. I mean, that's pretty striking of an intervention in halting and regressing disease. But one thing that I sort of I wanted to ask you about in this study, you said the regression rate, disease getting worse, I think I read was about 22%. Well, I would argue that you have such a good group of people that anginal symptoms got better. That got better for a reason. So I suspect that even though you couldn't measure it, regression rate was much higher in this study. Would you agree?
Well, no, you're right. You make a very valid point, Dr. Marcum. Actually, when you look at reversal, there actually are there are 6 types of reversal. One, of course, is the sort of jazzy, dramatic reversal that we will see in a small percentage of patients where the plaque itself, in younger patients, when it's made up of inflammation and cholesterol and fat, actually will be carried away by the scavenger cells, and it's gone. It resolves. But when you have people who are older, and the plaque is made up of scar, fibrosis, calcification, this is not going to go anywhere. But the exciting thing is, when you look at any pictures of the coronary vascular tree, there are just thousands of vessels. And all thousands of those vessels, when you think about it, when the endothelial cells have been so hammered and injured, they are no longer making nitric oxide so much as they are making now 2 other molecules that are vasoconstricted, endothelin and thromboxane. And so as soon as these patients start eating plant-based and their endothelial cells recover, they stop making a vasoconstrictor and at the same time start making nitric oxide. So you've got 2 things going for you. And even though the actual blockage or plaque doesn't reverse, what does reverse is the capacity of the entire coronary vascular bed to once again dilate. So that there's a huge amount of flow. If we go back to the laws of physics, Poiseuille's law of flow through the hollow viscous is related to the 4th power of the radius. Translation: a tiny increase in diameter, you get a huge increase in flow. And you see that when you do a PET rubidium dipyridamole scan of these patients within 2 or 3 weeks after they've started. Even though we know their blockage hasn't gone away, they're now reperfusing areas of the heart muscle that previously were not perfused. And of course, the other way of reversal is simply by doing a repeat cardiac stress echo test, which was abnormal at the start. And usually in 6 or 12 months will be significantly improved or back to normal. The 4th way, if you will measure, for instance, in the arteries to the head, the carotid, you can show reverse on the duplex sound. You can see reversal of the blockage as it decreases. Number 5, you can see the same thing with pulse volume when you're doing it with the leg, how the pulse volume will increase as these patients improve. And then the most important thing of all that you just mentioned, and that is, what about the reversal of the patient's symptoms?
Yeah.
They no longer have claudication, they no longer have chest pain, they no longer have shortness of breath.
Yeah. I mean,
so those are the 6 ways of reversal.
Well, and if you looked at your group, 104 of those people, 104,
And angina, we didn't think it was quite fair to include that, but you're right.
That's a lot. I guess, before you came on, we had a question from one of our this is a live program, and we take live questions. And we had a question before it came on is, should I have a stent or a bypass surgery? And I was talking to the person that wrote in. I said, listen, stents and bypasses are really just treating symptoms, and they're great if you're having a heart attack. But for all other situations, we have to be very careful, of what we do, because we can actually muck up the endothelium when we put a stent in. We can actually turn on clotting factors and damages occurs, and we can actually make things worse. And the other day I had a colleague that did an angioplasty stent on a 70% blockage in a right coronary. The rest of the tree wasn't too bad off. And then within 6 months later, they found out that they had an 80 or 90% blockage in the left main coronary artery, which is the major one that supplies the whole artery, that wasn't there before. So something must have activated when we damage that endothelium anywhere. There's repercussions everywhere. And I think this study, it really gives us ammunitions, those that believe that treatment with nutrition is going to be the next great advance we make in cardiovascular disease. I think this is just a wonderful study. I wish we could do it on 2,000, 20,000, and I wish we could do it on people that didn't even have disease and see how well they would do throughout time.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, because I think where we stand today with present cardiology, because they're very skillful at treating symptoms, they can sort of carry patients along, but sadly they cannot cure patients because they're not treating the cause of the illness.
Yeah.
And the present approach is going to end the epidemic, and it's also financially unsustainable. Recently, Dr. Don Berwick was at the clinic, and he formerly was a commissioner and head of Medicare and Medicaid. And his concern is that right now, what is really taking this country into debtor's prison faster than anything is the enormous amount of money that is being spent on health. And it's really needlessly being spent because we're not really showing patients what could truly be the seismic revolution in health that is really at our fingertips. And that is, a seismic revolution is never going to come about through the invention of another pill. It'll never come about through another procedure or another operation. But the seismic revolution that is at our fingertips can come about when we are willing to show the public the lifestyle, and especially the nutritional literacy that will allow them to eliminate really 80% of these common chronic killing diseases that need never, ever even exist.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree totally. We're about ready to go to break, but after the break, please stay with us. I'd like to talk after the break, Nick, to him about how your colleagues are responding, one thing, and what we can do in the media and as other health professions to help keep this ball rolling. We just don't want it to be one study and done. We want to incorporate this in the vernacular of practicing physicians, of cardiologists, of individual patients. We want to continue to keep the ball rolling. Nick?
Yeah, and if you're sitting at home and this is an interesting topic to you, we'd like you to join the conversation by sending us a text message. Send your questions about heart disease, coronary artery disease to 423-834-7307, and we'd like to present your questions on the air. And you can also join us at our website at heartwiseministries.org. And if you have questions on any health topic, you can join us there and ask the doctor your question. We're going to be right back with more information from Dr. Esselstyn in this fantastic article that he's written. And we wish you the best of health. Stay tuned. There's more to come. Maybe get up and do a few jumping jacks during the break to stay active. We'll be right back.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Thank you for staying tuned. We are so fortunate to have Dr. Esselstyn on the phone with us tonight to answer some questions and talk about how a whole food, plant-based diet can take care of a lot of issues with heart disease and coronary artery disease. And Dr. Marcum, you had a few questions, so I'm going to let you right back at it.
Well, before I do that, I went out and on the WebWire today, I sent a press release. And I wrote a blog about this. So if you're interested in our blog, go to our website, heartwiseministries.org, where I start to talk about the implications of this study. Well, I sent this out to the world today, and I stated that this is a once-in-a-lifetime study which could literally change the course of healthcare and be a possible solution to our healthcare dilemma. If a cure for Ebola was discovered, every media outlet in the world would be on top of the story. And we must get the word of this study to the masses, even if it's unpopular with our colleagues in culture. Now, I'm a fellow of the American College of Cardiology. I think that we need, as a fellow of the American College of Cardiology, as doctors, as physicians, as lay people, to step up and say, listen, let's talk about this. Let's find out ways we can fix the problems. And that's what I wanted to ask you next, Dr. Esselstyn, is how are your colleagues that you deal with every day, how are they dealing with this information? Are they talking about it? Are they ignoring it? What's happening with this?
Well, as you might expect, there are some that are absolutely delighted, ecstatic, and really want to come and apprentice with us to learn how to do this. And I will share with you that there are some that are successful, and there's some that are not successful. And let me explain the difference. I mentioned to you that our program was about 5.5 hours, where we try to show these patients respect and have them be fully educated about how they caused this disease in the first place and how they can be empowered themselves to get out of it. And this takes time. Yeah. And we find that the physicians who are even though they have a busy practice, let's say they start to take off every other Wednesday afternoon and take out of their practice those people who need this instruction and do it. Or maybe they take off Saturday morning and do it. Those are the ones that are getting terrific results. The physicians who say they're very busy, but at the end of a 20-minute office visit, they'll spend 5 minutes, not 5.5 hours. Yeah. 5 minutes, obviously, they have a very modest success rate. Now, there are other physicians, when you think about it, there are about 3 areas of the world that are totally against an industry, against what I do. One is the United States government. The United States Department of Agriculture, every 5 years, makes a food pyramid for the public. And every officer of the USDA was formerly an officer either in the cattle industry, the Dairy Association, the Pork Board, the Egg Board, or Danon's Yogurt. And they're not about to have stricken from that food plate the foods that are destroying the endothelial cells. So literally, the public is given a food pyramid every 5 years, which on foods which appear there are guaranteed that millions of Americans who eat them will perish. So what about the industries such as the stent industry or the statin drug industry?
Yeah.
The statin drug industry is $35 billion. They want to see that go away. How about the How about the statin drug industry? $5 billion. They want to see. The stent industry. $5 billion. They want to see that go away. No. And what about our own colleagues who are interventional with either stents or bypass? Are they really clamoring for fewer and fewer patients? Hardly. So there are some hurdles out there. But what is going to absolutely prevail, and you can see this in many physicians who are enlightened and really want to do this, is that our science is going to prevail. That's why it's so important that we try to do these outcome studies. And also the public itself is eventually going to demand this.
Mm-hmm.
And now we also have to work on the medical schools themselves, because it's just so tragic to think that almost all medical schools in the United States are so sadly deficient in educating young medical students about anything to do with nutrition or behavioral modification.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Dr. Esselstyn. And listen, we just want to thank the Journal Family Practice for publishing this.
Yes, thank you.
And you for spending your life and changing your career course and doing this, because this is an important first step. And, you know, 200 and some years ago, if you were a doctor treating George Washington and you said, I don't think we need to draw any more blood out of him, they would have said, you need to leave the room. You're not a good doctor. You know, and a few years later, if you didn't give cocaine to certain people for the cold, you weren't a good doctor. Even in the 30s, they used to prescribe cigarettes to people that that had asthma. And I think as they look back at this stage in medical healing history, they're going to see the work you've done and this study, and they're going to say, listen, this guy was on the right track. He's got it all going. So we want to thank you for being on HeartWise, and we definitely want to continue to promote these things and teach people how to have the locus of control with them. Let them be their own best healers, and let them plug into the things that can heal their own body and not be so dependent on a system that treats symptoms. So just thank you so much for taking the time, for being with us this evening.
My pleasure, and all the very best.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Esselstyn.
Bye-bye.
You know, Nick, I want to tell a funny story here. You know, I talked to Dr. Esselstyn about being with us on HeartWise, and I said, you know, we're on from 6 to 7, okay? And I got a call this morning at 6 in the morning saying, listen, you know, I couldn't get a hold of the number.
Right.
So that's how dedicated Dr. Esselstyn is helping and serving the world. And I'm just so glad this study's out there. And for those of you that have severe coronary disease, vascular disease, there's hope. And this study shows there's scientific proof of the hope that we have.
Absolutely. You know, we've got a few more questions from our website that have come in, so let's go through a couple of those.
Yeah, let's get a couple of those.
And this one is very much in line with what we've just been talking about. Somebody wants to know about nutrition and what's the best foods for their health.
Yeah.
So wrap up what the study showed.
What is the best food for health? And we always want to know, what is the best food? What is the best medicine? What is the best chapter in the Bible to read? What is the best? Well, I don't know, Nick. But the food that God gave us has to be considered right up there high on the list. In fact, there's a group in New Guinea that they've never had heart disease before, and 80% of their diet is sweet potatoes. So for them, the best diet is sweet potatoes. I guess if you lived in China and ate corn, which is another carbohydrate starch, the best food for you would be rice.
Right.
If you were an Aztec, the best food might be corn. If you were an Incan, the best food might be a potato. But notice the trend. All of these are real foods that have real nutrients, that don't have chemicals, that don't have a lot of fat, that don't have a lot of protein. So I don't know if there's a perfect food, but there's bunches of food that God's given us that grow and that are real, that have nutrients, that aren't saturated with fat and a lot of chemicals. For that person, I would say that's probably the best food. And don't forget, I'm big on this, Nick, don't forget to drink water.
That's right, lots of water.
You know, it only makes sense. You know, we talk about food, but we need to talk about water too. 70-80% of your body, Nick, is water.
That's
right. It's not these other soda pops. So water is very important too.
So where here in the United States are the best places to find these types of foods?
Well, you know, if you have a local market that grows their own food, that's the best place to go. Of course, almost all of the healthy food stores have a produce section. Look for what is in season. Look for what they can get to the market very quickly. That's a really great place to start, and we'll stop there.
You know, if you have a restaurant that serves this type of food, we want to know about it. Go to our website and write your review at heartwiseministries.org. We're going to be right back. The show's almost over, but we have a few more notes for you, so stay tuned.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
I'm Dr. James Marcum, and I talk to patients every day who want to know the truth in healthcare. On our website, heartwiseministries.org, you can have your questions answered. You can read my blog where I talk about interesting and controversial subjects in medicine. You might choose to go to the radio or television sections and learn more about all sorts of health topics. Take the time and go to heartwiseministries.org.
The Ultimate Prescription by cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is taking the nation by storm. People everywhere are learning what living a healthy life is all about. If you're happy living a drug-filled, pain-filled, mundane existence, this book is definitely not for you. In this book, Dr. Marcum dives into modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses and explains how lifestyle choices can significantly impact your health. To get your copy, visit Barnes & Noble or shop online at Amazon.com.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
I'd like to think that one day, when we get to heaven, we're going to see a list of people like Jared and Susan, who were introduced to Jesus because of something we said. Or maybe it was as simple as a passing smile. But these people will look into their past and be able to say, I'm here because of you. Recently, you may have heard that Heartwise Ministries has begun spreading the gospel to the young, the old, the sick, and the healthy using this very television program. But we need your help. We want to take this type of medical programming to the non-believer and the person who has closed themselves off to traditional forms of outreach. If you believe as we do and want to support Heartwise so that together we can count more names on the tree of life, please consider donating today at heartwiseministries.org. That's heartwiseministries.org.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Heart of Health Live, and we've just been talking on the phone with Dr. Esselstyn from the Cleveland Clinic, and we just want to say thank you again to Dr. Esselstyn. It's been fantastic having you on the show, and Dr. Marcum, you really appreciate his research.
I do, because this gives meat, no, I shouldn't say meat, but gives potatoes to what I've been saying all along, and how we're trying to get people back to the way God created us. You know, there's a reason in Genesis they gave fruit, vegetables, nuts, and grains to people, and there's Daniel and his friends, you know, and there's reasons the Israelites got sick when they ate this. But anyway, I just want to thank him so much for being a pioneer. And I think when we look back on history, this landmark study, 200 people, this is starting to get significant. Now, I knew it wouldn't get published in the major journals because, like you said, the politics of it. So this has got to be a movement that starts from the ground and moves up. People want to be healthy. Well, here is solid scientific evidence of what a healthy diet. Now, we knew this all along, but now the evidence, it gives more support to what we've learned all along. So I just want to thank him and thank each one of you for watching every week and supporting Heartwise Ministries as we try to improve people's life through health, and also letting them know that there is ultimate healing in that relationship we have with our Creator.
That's right.
Do we want to get to another question,
Let's
Nick?
get to another question. We're going to shift gears
it.
from nutrition for just a minute. And this is one that I have to ask myself sometimes too. It says, I am a triathlete. Is it possible to over-exercise?
Yeah, well, I just want to thank that triathlete for exercising. And Nick, you exercise a lot.
Yeah,
when was the last time you were out on your bike?
Yesterday morning at about 7 a.m.
And how far did you go?
I rode 11 miles.
11 miles. Well, that is a really good exercise. But when people over-exercise, they make a substance called free radicals in the body. We've heard these terms oxidation and antioxidants. Well, free radicals is what sort of triggers this process called oxidation. Lots of oxidation actually damages the body. So there's lots of debate right now on people that exercise too much, how much is too much, and then are there things that they can do to possibly prevent the oxidative damage?
Right.
So if this triathlon is overdoing it, not hydrating himself, not getting enough rest, always is having muscle problems, other health issues, then yes, he might be exercising too much. But if they drink a lot of water, if they take antioxidants around the time, and not the pill type, but the food type of antioxidants. And there's some berries and other types of antioxidants that are very highly recommended to help in the recovery stage. And there's also some a thought out there that if people exercise, the body recovers and starts making more antioxidants on their own to counteract the stress radicals. So that there's that theory that does it. So what I say is use common sense if you're going to do extreme exercise. Make sure you hydrate it. Make sure you take your antioxidants in. If your body is telling you not to do it, if it's too sore, if it's too tired, you're passing out, you feel exhausted the next day, you're having other health issues, don't do it, because you can't exercise. And they say people that over-exercise in the 40 to 60, the oxidative stress might be the cardiac risk of drinking one cigarette. We're all out of time.
That's right. We're all out of time, and we just want to thank everyone for joining us. We've got a lot of information. If you want more, we're here every week, Thursdays at 6 o'clock Eastern, and you can find us online at heartwiseministries.org. And you can go onto our prayer forum there and list your prayer requests. You can also find Dr. Marcum's blog articles, including the one that Dr. Esselstyn made recently with this study. Dr. Marcum wrote a blog on that, so go find it there on our website. You can also follow us on Facebook at heartwiseministries.org/Facebook. And we just thank you for joining us. And Dr. Marcum, you have a few closing words?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we had Dr. Esselstyn on to give us this teeth into this study. And I'm hoping that we can move people one step along in trying to apply this to make the blood vessels of the entire body better.
Thank you again, and join us next week right here at the same place.